The Galactic Concorde's council chamber hovered in the vast emptiness of space, its crystalline walls refracting the light of 1,000 stars. The chamber's grandeur reflected the unity of countless species, but today it was a stage for discord. High Chancellor Virex, his emerald scales glinting under the soft illumination, raised his forearms to quiet the assembly. "Order! Order in this chamber!" his voice boomed. "We convene to address the incident on New Novara." From my seat as Ambassador Crix of the Silverian Alliance, I couldn't suppress a smirk. Incident. That was how they described the annihilation of an entire Dracon fleet by human forces. The term grossly understated the scale of devastation. High Chancellor Virex gestured toward me. "Ambassador Crix, as the intermediary for human communications, please read their response." I activated the holographic display on my console. "To the Galactic Concord and its associated species," I began. "For over 3 centuries, humanity has endured your restrictions, your exploitation, and your disdain. The attack on New Novara has crossed a line we will not tolerate. Effective immediately, we withdraw from the Concord. Any species obstructing our pursuit of justice will be considered hostile. Choose your stance wisely." The council chamber erupted into chaos. Crystalline beings dimmed their glow in distress, insectoid representatives clicked their mandibles in panic, and aquatic envoys gurgled in dismay. High Chancellor Virex's green scales shifted to a pallid white. "They are but one species among hundreds," barked Commander Thalix of the Draken Empire. "They cannot possibly challenge us all." I stood, clearing my throat. "Colleagues, has it occurred to you that humanity's patience may have been a strategy? They've spent centuries preparing for this moment. Perhaps it's time we acknowledge our missteps." The silence that followed was deafening. Everyone knew the truth. Humanity's grievances were not without merit. The Council's decisions had sown the seeds of rebellion, and now the harvest was upon us. Humanity's relationship with the Concord had always been strained. Officially, policies like the Parian embargo were framed as measures to protect developing species. Unofficially, they were tools for economic suppression. The embargo restricted human access to quantum crystals, crippling their technological growth and stalling their expansion. When humanity petitioned for relief, offering 17 increasingly reasonable proposals, each was summarily rejected. Trade Minister Zill of the Crystalline Coalition had argued that humanity's predatory economic tendencies posed a threat to galactic stability. In reality, it was her species' monopoly she sought to protect. Then came the starvation. Isolated colonies like New Texas and Vega Prime faced dire shortages after conquered restrictions severed supply chains. Requests for aid, exemptions, and even citizen relocation were denied. Billions suffered, yet humanity's diplomatic appeals persisted until they didn't. The breaking point came with the Beta Carina incident. The Concord declared human expansion zones as sanctuaries for lithoid species, displacing human settlers from terraformed planets. Years of work and trillions of credits were lost, all to accommodate creatures mysteriously discovered after Draken's survey ships scouted the area. It was a blatant farce. We ignored their sacrifices, I admitted, addressing the council. Their patience was not weakness. It was resolve. High Chancellor Virex's voice wavered, and now they threaten the Concord itself. "What do you suggest?" "Understand the history we've written," I replied. "We forced their hand, and now we reap the consequences." A holographic projection dominated the chamber, showing the smoldering ruins of New Novara. Fires still burned across the agricultural domes, their shattered shells littering the land like broken eggshells. Draken ships, once an unstoppable armada, were now debris scattered across orbit. High Commander Thalix rose, his scales flashing with anger. "This is an outrage. Humanity's response is disproportionate." "Is it?" I countered, activating a playback of the attack. Draken ships had descended on New Novara without warning, targeting not military installations but food production facilities. The goal wasn't conquest, it was starvation. The chamber watched in stunned silence as civilian ships attempting to flee were systematically destroyed. Over 7 million humans perished in the first hours. For 17 hours, I continued, human vessels adhered to conquered protocols, refusing to engage. But in the 18th hour, every human ship vanished. Then they struck. The council murmured nervously as I displayed real-time scans. 5,000 human vessels disappeared from our sensors. When they returned, they weren't where they had been. They were everywhere. The reports were staggering. Advanced drive systems allowed human ships to phase out of detection. Quantum virus attacks dismantled Draken defenses. Entire fleets were obliterated by weapons that defied known physics. One such weapon, dubbed the Manhattan Protocol, reduced matter within a 50-kilometer radius to elementary particles. Even planetary shields were no defense against its horrifying precision. "Impossible," Trade Minister Zill whispered, her crystalline form vibrating with fear. "We would have known if they possessed such technology." "Would we?" I asked. "For centuries, we underestimated their ingenuity. Every restriction we placed only pushed them to innovate in secret." Supreme Commander Thalix clutched his neural communicator, his voice trembling. "Reports indicate simultaneous attacks on all major systems. Their fleet is everywhere at once." "Classic human strategy," I noted. "They're not holding territory. They're dismantling infrastructure, surgically, relentlessly." The chamber shook as a distant explosion rattled the station. High Chancellor Virex's voice was barely a whisper. "They're teaching us the price of arrogance." The final human transmission from New Novara played in the chamber. Governor Chen, calm amidst chaos, delivered a simple message. "Remember the Alamo." The phrase confounded alien historians, but I explained its significance. "It's a symbol of resistance," I said, "a declaration that, even in defeat, the cost to the aggressor will be unbearable." The humans lived up to the message. Every battle saw their ships broadcasting the crimes of their targets before striking. Civilian systems remained untouched, underscoring their restraint and their capability for total annihilation. By the end of the campaign, the Draken homeworld's defenses were obliterated. The once mighty empire capitulated, and their surviving commanders surrendered unconditionally. A month later, the conquered reconvened, humbled and forever changed. Admiral Leia Rodriguez of the United Earth Alliance stood at the chamber's center, her presence commanding yet devoid of arrogance. "Our terms are simple," she said. "No more restrictions, no more exploitation, collaboration or isolation. The choice is yours." The council murmured as Rodriguez unveiled humanity's final offer, a unified research initiative to prepare for the greater threats lurking in the galaxy. "We saw what lies beyond," Rodriguez concluded, "and it's far worse than anything you've faced." As she departed, I couldn't help but laugh. Humanity, once the student, had become the teacher. In trying to contain them, we had forged our own saviors. The stars seemed darker, but for the first time, we weren't facing the void alone.